So we are going to be taking things from last chapter when we were working with our exponential growth and decay and combining them together here. So this is one of those equations we're going to work a lot with our continually compounded formula. So I'm going to put that up here. Our A equals P E to the RT. Thank you, dear.
Wait.
What's up?
I thought it was the wrong class because I'd never seen it.
No, she's here.
How
Give me
much
a
does
pass.
liability insurance cost? Just an estimate.
I don't know.
For a business.
I don't know.
Oh, my bad.
I ain't never run a business.
My bad, I'm sorry. It's irrelevant.
It is.
For like 60K or more?
I don't know. I literally have none context. I've never run my own business.
My bad.
My instinct says that feels high, but it depends on the business and the liability.
Well, just no blind people. It sounds messed up right now, but just no blind people. It sounds messed up, I'm sorry.
I am horrified,
You can continue teaching.
and I feel like I don't want to ask
My dad
any
is blind.
clarifying questions. Great. Irrelevant to the liability insurance for the
I'm not
non-existence building. Sit down and shush.
I'm not lying. God knows I'm not lying.
I didn't say you were. I said I don't want any further questions.
Yeah, my bad.
See
You
it.
can continue teaching.
Great. I'm so glad I have your permission.
You don't have my permission. I'm not gonna debate. I'm not gonna debate.
to keep teaching was my thing. I'm glad I have your permission to keep going.
No, that's your responsibility.
I know. So shut your face.
My bad. I'm not smart. I just sound smart, guys.
Let's just go with this. We're talking about bacteria with a population of 100 that grows at a rate of 35% per hour. And we want to know how long until the population triples. So what pieces do we know for this equation to fill in? We haven't worked with this in a hot minute, so it's okay if it's a little rusty. What would we have as that? So the 100 is not going to be the A, but it's along the right track. It's the P. This is what we start with. That's our initial population. So we're going to have our 100 here. Then we have our E, which is just a number in the calculator. What else do we know? What else do we know? Our rate is 35% as our rate. How do we write that into our equation? Do we just write 35 as our rate? .35. 0.35. Do we know the time? No, that's what we're being asked. We're being asked how long. So that's going to be our variable. That's the piece we don't know. What's up, guys? What are we going to put for our A? For what is the amount we're looking at here? Because I need one more piece of information before we can solve. I got to figure out what's going to go over here. What is our total? We want to know how long it's going to be until the population triples. So what's the total that we're looking for? 300. We're taking our population we started with and tripling it. Guys, literally we have a test on Thursday. great. You're still going to have to take it at some point.
I'm gonna be a dinner.
Thank you.
My bad. I'm not trying to be rude.
Don't let other people focus on their work. Even if you don't care, other people still want to pass. So we're looking for when our population triples. So we take what we started with and we tripled it. Tripling is times 3. So then what we have is we have this equation down here. And we're trying to solve it. We want to get t by itself. This is back into our solving stuff like we did last week, where we're trying to get our exponential piece by itself so that we can switch it into log form. What can I do to get this e by itself? What do I need to do to get this chunk isolated so I can switch it back to a log? Divide by 100. I'm going to divide both sides by 100. That'll make this piece and that piece cancel out. We'll be left with e to the 0.35 t is going to equal 3. 300 divided by 100 is just 3. Once we're here, we can use our BP equals A, log base B of A equals P, our BPA log BAP stuff, to help us convert this back into logarithmic form. Because I want this t out of the exponent. I'm trying to figure out what t is. So I need this out of the exponent, which means I need to convert this into log form. So we're going to have our log with a base of e, our argument of 3, and it's going to equal that exponent of our 0.35t. Then what are we going to do to get the t by itself? Yeah. I'm going to divide both sides by this 0.35. I can hear somebody's music over here. So we're going to have that our x equals, and I'm going to have a fraction. I'm going to take my log base e and rewrite that as my natural log, ln of 3 over 0.35. And that's technically correct. That's an answer. But I don't know how long that is. They said how long? I got no idea. So in order to figure out how long, how many hours it's going to be, we're going to type that in the calculator. So we're going to have our natural log of 3 divided by 0.35. So we're going to come into the calculator, and we're going to put in a fraction with the natural log of 3 over 0.35. And we're going to type it in the calculator just like this. We're going to take our 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to make us round up. So we have 3.1389. $3.1389. Oh, and this isn't an x, this is a t. I lost my mind there. That was our variable, was a t equals. So you wind up with 3.1389 hours. That's what we were solving for, because we were trying to figure out how long. So this sample of bacteria triples in just over 3 hours. Which is why we wash our hands.
Say that again? Halfway. I just want the device. Because you said that's why we wash our hands.
Yes.
Wait, never mind, just keep on teaching.
Because the population of bacteria will triple in an hour.
Oh.
It's bacteria.
My bad.
Tripled. 3 hours.
My bad.
You are just full of very random thoughts today. Okay, so we're solving in the same way we've done before. We're just building the equations with stuff from last chapter. Questions on this first one? Okay, we're going to try a couple more like this. Oop. So here's our next one. We've got $500 into a bank account that earns 8% interest and is compounded continuously. How long for your money to double? So compounding continuously, that tells us for sure we use our PERT equation. P equals E, or A equals P E to the RT. PERT. So we've got to fill in our blanks. We've got to figure out what pieces we have, what pieces we know, what pieces we're solving for. So what do we know? $500. That's going to go in for which letter? P. I can hear the headphones over here. E is a button on the calculator, so we're never going to plug something in for E. What else do we know? 8% interest. So that goes in for our R. We write that as a decimal. So we're going to scoot this over 1, 2 times. So we have 0.08. 0.08. We don't know T. That is what we're being asked, is how long will it take? That means we need to solve for T. What's going to go on this side of my equal sign? 1,000. We take the money and double it. For our money to double, so we're going to take our 500 and double it. We want to know when our total is 1,000. So what are we going to do first here when it comes to solving this? Divide by 500. Got to get that E by itself first. So we're going to divide both sides by 500. That's going to give us that 2 equals E to the 0.08 T. What do we need to do next? Change it into log form. Exactly right. We're going to make this be our log with a base of E, our argument of 2, and it's going to equal that power, the exponent of our 0.08 T. So we switch it into its log form. That's what gets this T out of the exponent. Then what are we going to do? By what? Perfection. Divide both sides by our 0.08. So we're going to divide this side by our 0.08. So we wind up with this statement that says our T equals the fraction that has log base E, also known as our natural log of 2 over 0.08, which is great. That is very accurate. It is not super helpful when I'm trying to figure out how long until I go to the bank to get my money back. To figure out how long it takes, We have to type that into the calculator because that number is not particularly helpful as it is right there. So we're going to go to the calculator, and we're going to do our fraction with the natural log of 2 over our 0.08. And we're going to type the whole thing in. Boop. So if I put my $500 in the bank that's earning 8% interest and walk away and come back in 8.6-ish years, I'll have $1,000 bucks.
8% seems like a little bit, but that's a lot.
8% is a very high interest rate. That's honestly more likely to be something we have on a credit card.
The more down payment, the less or more interest. I don't know.
The down payment does not affect the interest rate at all.
Okay.
It affects your principal on a loan.
Sorry, I just want to know about this. It's my fault.
I know. And I can answer the questions as they come in context. We've not been doing like...
They still have to deal with math. That's why I want to...
I know. I'm not giving you any grief. You're getting very defensive.
Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy right now.
You in a mood today.
Yeah, look. No, it's just like, I'm separating Pokemon cards. I'm a little bit crazy.
I know. I mean, it's your choice. I guess I'm going to see you next year.
It's my therapy. All right, I'm going to let you teach.
8.66. I've forgotten the numbers now because we're having so many up. 4-3. 4-3. And this is in years. I will make sure when it comes to the test that it will say what the unit is, even if it's bank account stuff. They assumed for you to remember that bank accounts are always calculated in years. I will make sure it's going to be written out so that the word is there, and we just have to find it. Okay, so the calculations on these aren't really different than what we've been doing. It's just the filling in and combining it with the last chapter stuff. Questions on this one? We only have one more. Because sometimes we straight up give you an equation. So we've got this equation here that represents the amount of medication in your body after some number of hours. So we want to know how long until there's only 10 milligrams left. And they filled in this equation. They took our PERT and they filled it in for us already. So they already marked down that we have a principal of 250. They already wrote down that we have a rate that decreases by 40%. The only thing that's really going to be confusing here is that they switched the T to an X and this function rule over here instead of the A. So we don't have to fill in our own equation. They gave it to us. We just have to figure out what we're setting it equal to solve for our time. So if we have this equation that represents the amount of medication in your body after some number of hours, and we want to know how long it is till there's only 10 milligrams left, where the heck are we going to put this 10? Bless you. Where are we going to put that 10? And where the A goes. That's the total that we're looking for. So in this equation, it's actually this chunk over here, the f of x. So they've relabeled it and made it weird. But that's one of those things that happens. So what we're going to do is when we're writing this equation, it's going to be our 10 equals all the rest of it. 10 equals our 250 e to the minus 0.4 x. So we're plugging things in just like last chapter, and then we're using this chapter to solve it. So what are we going to do first to solve this guy? Close by the 250. I need this chunk to be all by itself, so I need to get rid of that 250. So we're going to divide both sides by 250. Which is going to give us on the left-hand side. You can put it as a fraction. 1 over 25 would be it simplified. Or we can put it as a decimal. 0.04 equals e to the minus 0.4 x. Honestly, I think it's easier to do it as decimal since we're typing it in the calculator anyway, but you can do it as a fraction if you want. It's totally fine. From here, we're going to switch this back around to its logarithmic form. So we're going to have our log with a base of e of our argument, that's our 0.04, is going to equal that power of our minus 0.4x. The whole point is to get that x out of the exponent. Then what are we going to do to get our x by itself? Gorgeous. We're going to divide by negative 0.4 on both sides. So we're going to wind up with our x equals, and we have a fraction that's going to have our natural log. Log base e is the same thing as ln. So ln of 0.04 divided by negative 0.4. And we're going to just have those as decimals. Do not try and simplify it right here. I don't know why, but people get a little froggy with this one and they try and simplify those 4s.
What do you mean by frog?
Wild. Crazy.
Was that hyperbole?
I don't know. English is a construct.
An extreme exaggeration.
Yes. To get our decimal answer, we're going to type the sucker in a calculator. Natural log of 0.04 over negative 0.4. So we're going to have in our calculator the natural log of 0.04 divided by negative 0.4. And we get 8.0472. That's going to make us round up. $8.0472 what's? What's our unit here? Hours. Because my X stands for hours. So after 8 hours, there's only 10 milligrams of the meds left. It wears off. Okay? So the calculations on these aren't the worst thing ever. We've solved things like this before. We've solved worse than these before last week. Like, we've done worse. It's the stories that get us kind of wrapped up in our brains. Okay? So, what we have now is 15 minutes till the end of the period. When you came in, I know most of you guys picked it up, that review packet that was in the tray where normally bell work exists, but since, you know, e-learning and a test, you're not doing bell work. So we do tomorrow have a Zoom call, and I do have to take your attendance, so you do have to come to the Zoom call. we're going to use it kind of like tutoring time. So once I get your attendance down, if you don't have any questions, do your thing. If you got questions, that would be an excellent time to do something with that. So we have, tomorrow is going to be day 1 of our review. On Wednesday, we're going to review as well. And then Thursday's our test. So we have finished our logarithms chapter. And we're taking our test on Thursday. Okay, so tomorrow during the e-learning day, you're going to catch up on missing homework. You're going to work on the review, and you're going to get yourself ready for the test on Thursday. That's the plan. All right, so make sure you grab a copy of the paper review. But other than that, we now have time to work on stuff now or ask chaos questions.